She walked into court with her life hanging by a thread, accused of a crime so unthinkable it could lock her away forever. They wanted to send her to prison, but here's the twist. Skylar Richardson wasn't a cold-blooded criminal. She was a scared teenager, manipulated during interrogation, and forced to say words that nearly cost her freedom.
I didn't think she was breathing, and I think I squeezed her too hard. Okay.
This is the story of how one mistake, one misinterpreted statement, almost sent an innocent girl to prison for life, and the emotional moment when the truth finally set her free. In May of 2017, Carlisle, Ohio became the center of a national firestorm when 18-year-old Brooke Skylar Richardson, known simply as Skylar, was accused of secretly giving birth, ending her newborn's life, and burying the child in her family's backyard. The allegations were shocking. The media called her the cheerleader who buried her baby. Prosecutors painted a picture of a teenager desperate to keep her pregnancy a secret. So desperate, they claimed that she went to horrifying lengths. But beneath the sensational headlines was a truth no one saw coming. Skylar was a shy, soft-spoken high school senior from a small town. She was a cheerleader, a good student, and by all appearances, just a typical teenager preparing for graduation and college. But what no one knew, not even her parents, was that Skylar had been hiding a pregnancy, and that secret would soon turn her life into a legal nightmare. On May 7, 2017, police received a disturbing call from Skylar's obstetrician-gynecologist. Just 2 days earlier, Skylar had visited the doctor for birth control and admitted she had given birth at home and buried the baby in her backyard. Authorities immediately launched an investigation. Within hours, they were digging behind the Richardson family home, discovering what appeared to be skeletal remains. What began as a quiet suburban morning quickly became a crime scene swarming with detectives, reporters, and forensic teams. What happened next would define Skylar's case and nearly cost her her freedom. Skylar was brought into the police station and interrogated for hours. Detectives told her that her baby had been born alive, that she had harmed the child, and that they knew what happened. But here's the truth. There was no evidence the baby had ever taken a breath. Still, under intense questioning, alone, scared, and desperate to please authority figures, Skylar said things she didn't fully understand.
If you knew I didn't get the truth, and you still had to carry that weight with you.
I am so sorry.
Is it possible that she maybe breathed a little bit, like maybe, before?
Maybe.
Okay. That's what you do with her.
I put her in the towel.
Okay. Okay. Do you feel like she was breathing when you were holding her and you held her too tight? Okay. I know. It's okay. It's okay. You can't. It's okay. You were trying.
I think that was killed her.
Okay. Okay.
I pushed hard. I did not so hard, but just I just want her to go.
Okay. You think that's when she died?
Maybe.
Do you hear anything like little gurgle sounds? Like they'll kind of make a gurgle sound?
What kind of noise?
Maybe noise. What kind of noise?
Maybe a little noise, a gurgle, but I didn't know if it was something else. And then I didn't hear another one.
So how do you know the baby was alive just a little bit? The Annabelle was alive a little bit.
I saw her arm maybe a little bit moving on.
At one point, police suggested she had tried to cremate the remains. Skylar, emotionally exhausted, nodded along, creating a false confession that prosecutors would later use to charge her with aggravated murder. She was an 18-year-old, coerced into saying what investigators wanted to hear. By September 2019, the case had become a media frenzy. In the courtroom, prosecutors argued Skylar ended her baby's life to protect her image. They showed jurors her interrogation video, where she seemed to admit guilt and insisted it was proof of a calculated act. But the defense told a different story, one backed by medical experts. They explained that the baby, whom Skylar named Annabelle, was stillborn. She never took a breath. There was no sign of trauma, no evidence of violence, no proof of a crime, only a frightened teenager who didn't know what to do. As the trial unfolded, it became clear that much of the case hinged on one thing: those interrogation tapes. When the jury returned, the courtroom fell silent. Skylar was found not guilty of aggravated murder. not guilty of involuntary manslaughter, not guilty of child endangerment, but guilty of abuse of a corpse for the secret burial. She was cleared of the gravest accusations, but convicted of mishandling the remains. She trembled as the words echoed through the courtroom. Tears streamed down her face, her shoulders shaking with the weight of relief.
With regard to count 1, we, the jury in the above captioned case, find the defendant, Skylar Richardson, not guilty of the offense of aggravated murder, and there appear to be 12 jury signatures affixed. Verdict form 2, involuntary manslaughter. We, the jury in the above captioned case, do hereby find the defendant, Skylar Richardson, not guilty of the offense of involuntary manslaughter. Count 3, child endangerment. We, the jury, find the defendant, Skylar Richardson, not guilty of child endangerment. It does say we further find the defendant did not cause serious physical harm to the alleged victim, but that finding is not necessary as a matter of law. Verdict form number 4, we, the jury in the above captioned case, find the defendant, Skylar Richardson, guilty of the offense of abuse of a corpse. Ladies and gentlemen, are those the verdicts of the jury? Yes, sir. You may be seated.
The next day, Skylar stood to address the court before the judge delivered his decision, saying that she's sorry and that sometimes she can be selfish.
Yes. Is there anything that you want to tell me before I impose a sentence?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would do anything and above that you ask, and I understand. And I just wanted to say how sorry I was. I can sometimes be selfish, but I would like to think that I've become better in the knowledge that I've upset everyone and hurt so many people with what I've done. And I'm forever sorry, and I'm so sorry. I'm really, really sorry, and I understand. And thank you.
The judge then issued a sentence that was both sparing and searing. He imposed 3 years of community control for abuse of a corpse, plus 7 days in jail, credited as time served, meaning she would go home that day. But he didn't mince words about her choices. Legally, the outcome reflected what the jury decided. No proof beyond a reasonable doubt of a live birth and intentional harm, yet a criminally wrong decision to bury the body in secret.
But I think that your choices before birth, during birth, and after show a grotesque disregard for life. And I think when I look at this case, that to me is what offends the community sensibilities. But because of policy decisions that are beyond my purview, the jury was not permitted to consider those things, and neither am I. So I don't hold those things against you in the sentencing. I'm going to place you on 3 years of basic supervision. I'm going to impose upon you the standard rules of community control, and I'm going to delegate to your officer the ability to make special or additional conditions as they see fit. I'm going to order as a term of your community control that you spend 7 days in the county jail. I'm going to credit you the 7 days that you have already done, which means that you are going to be going home today.
The judge's admonition was moral and communal. The sentence followed the law. Skylar completed over a year of her 3-year supervision before the same judge ended it early, acknowledging compliance and her ongoing remorse. Years later, the court sealed her single conviction, another chapter closing on a case that once dominated headlines. Despite the not guilty verdict, Skylar's life would never return to normal. The world had judged her before the trial even began. But inside that courtroom, the truth prevailed. Skylar had not committed a crime. She had made mistakes, yes, but not the one prosecutors claimed. One mistake in a police interrogation had almost destroyed her life. But in the end, justice, however delayed, was served. Did the justice system go too far, turning a terrified teen's mistake into a criminal conviction? Or should hiding a pregnancy and burying the remains carry an even harsher penalty? Where do you draw the line between tragedy and crime? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed watching this video, click the next video on your screen. Thanks for watching.